Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from StoryPlanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book, The Cold War, a creation by Robert J. McMahon. The Cold War, 2003, offers an account of the significant conflict that shaped the latter half of the 20th century. Commencing shortly after World War II, it charts the evolution of the Cold War until the end of the century, elucidating its root causes and general progression. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Robert J. McMahon, an esteemed American historian specializing in the Cold War and U.S. foreign relations, is a professor at Ohio State University. He has authored books such as The Cold War in the Third World, Colonialism and Cold War, and The Cold War on the Periphery. With 8 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book. On StoryPlanet.net. To start, gain a comprehensive understanding of a significant conflict from the 20th century. The text discusses the complexity and vastness of the Cold War, a 45-year conflict in the 20th century. It highlights key events and leaders such as the arms race, space race, Korean and Vietnam Wars, and figures like Truman and Khrushchev. The focus is on understanding what the Cold War was about, its origins, spread, and conclusion. It mentions Germany's significance, the shift to Southeast Asia in the conflict, and how much of it occurred in the developing world. Key idea number 1. The Cold War emerged after World War II. In 1945, World War II ended with widespread destruction. The United States and Soviet Union emerged as superpowers amid the ruins. Cold War tensions arose due to ideological differences and strategic disagreements dating back even before the war. Despite being allies against Nazi Germany, the US and USSR had conflicting priorities. Their differing approaches after the war led to increasing rivalry and the start of the Cold War. Key idea number 2. The US aimed for a strong position in Eurasia, global influence, and military superiority. The US sought global influence through military strength and a balance of power in Eurasia post-World War II. Lessons learned included the importance of preventing domination in Eurasia, expanding US-controlled bases globally due to technological advancements, and the necessity of maintaining superior military power. Key idea number 3. The US aimed to enhance its global military power with economic partnerships focused on free trade. After World War II, US strategists aimed to establish global military dominance by maintaining a strong Navy and Air Force, leading in the Pacific and Western Hemisphere, and controlling nuclear weapons. They also emphasized creating multilateral economic relationships through free trade to promote global prosperity and prevent conflict. The strategy aimed to bolster capitalism, prevent communism's spread, and secure US-led order through a combination of military strength and economic cooperation. Key idea number 4. The Soviet Union aimed to safeguard its interests by keeping Germany in a weakened state and establishing a buffer zone in Eastern Europe. The US pursued its post-war international order vision through agreements like Bretton Woods, establishing the IMF and World Bank. The US State Department listed essential military base sites worldwide by 1946. Soviet Union sought to protect itself by keeping Germany weak and establishing buffer zones in Eastern Europe due to devastating wartime losses. Soviet strategists aimed to prevent future invasions by promoting communist regimes in Eastern European countries, leading to conflict with US vision and the beginning of the Cold War. Key idea number 5. Disagreement over post-war Germany contributed to the start of the Cold War in Europe. Disagreement over post-war Germany sparked the initiation of the Cold War, with the US and Soviets at odds over Germany's reconstruction and political alignment. The US aimed for a strong, US-aligned Germany to bolster Western Europe economically and militarily, while the Soviets sought to avoid a resurgent German threat. The failure to agree led to increased hostility and the division of Germany by 1949, symbolizing the start of the Cold War in Europe. This historic event led to the establishment of NATO and the strengthening of US-Soviet rivalry. Key idea number 6. Southeast Asia was a battleground of the Cold War due to the rise of communist movements in the region. The Cold War between the US and Soviet Union was fueled by fears of each other's dominance, leading to conflicts in Europe as well as Southeast Asia. Communist movements in China, Korea, Vietnam, and other parts of Southeast Asia heightened tensions and drew US involvement to counter Soviet and Chinese influence in the region. This marked the beginning of US military involvement in conflicts such as the Korean and Vietnam Wars. Key idea number 7. The Cold War was mainly fought in the Third World. During the 1950s onward, Southeast Asia became a key battleground for the Soviet Union and the US as they sought to expand their spheres of influence during the Cold War. This region held strategic importance due to its impact on the global post-war order and the threat of communism spreading. The conflict in Southeast Asia was part of the broader struggle between the US and Soviet Union for dominance in the Third World. The Cold War also played out in economic, political, militaristic, and clandestine ways, with the Third World often bearing the brunt of the conflicts, resulting in a significant number of casualties predominantly in the region. Key idea number 8. The Cold War ended in Europe. The Cold War saw the US and Soviet Union compete through indirect means globally. Europe, especially Germany, was the initial flashpoint. The arms race led to mutually assured destruction, deterring direct conflict. Gorbachev's reforms led to the end of the Cold War, with the Soviet Union collapsing in 1991. In conclusion, the Cold War was a conflict between the US and the Soviet Union over differing visions for the post-World War II international order. Spanning Europe and later spreading globally, it was driven by national security and geopolitical interests of the superpowers. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on StoryPlanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on StoryPlanet.net.